you can get a DMCA strike or ban for your avatar. Let's talk about that. This video is brought to you by Private Internet Access. For safe, secure web browsing to make it seem like you're from any country in the world, please click on the link in the video's description down below. Using that link really helps support the channel. Recently, Projekt Melody was briefly banned through the DMCA strike system on Twitch. The person who made Melody's avatar, despite selling the complete rights to the avatar to Melody, decided to abuse the DMCA strike system and issue 3 strikes at once in an attempt to remove her channel from Twitch. Thankfully, her channel has been restored, and as a result of her proving her ownership of her avatar and support from the VTubing and streaming community. So, what happened here? There was an abuse of the arguably poor and lackluster attempt of Twitch's implemented DMCA system to protect their own creators. With all this DMCA news going around Twitch regarding music, it created a huge stir in the streaming community. And unfortunately, it seems the only solution offered by Twitch is to basically just delete everything. So what does this mean for VTubers? Essentially, this means virtual content creators are not immune to DMCA takedown or demonetization, and copyright applies to not only the music that's played in the content being consumed, but also the avatars that they're using. So it's very important that virtual content creators have the rights to the avatars that they are using. So why do rights holders care so much? To major companies and rights holders, having complete control over their intellectual property is really important. So much so that they'll go take down or sue happy in order to protect what they think is theirs to have total control of it. So when they feel something is infringing on their trademark or brand, or some companies will just basically not hesitate to issue lawsuits or takedown requests. So when it comes to avatars, if they feel they own any part of your avatar, or if it has too much of a likeness to something they have the rights to, or they think they have the rights to, or they feel entitled to it, they won't hesitate to issue those DMCAs. So here are some examples from the past. The makers of Elder Scrolls Skyrim suing Mojang for their card game Scrolls, since they said they own the word Scrolls. Candy Crush Saga sues Banner Saga. Banner Saga is a great game, by the way. Because they felt they own the word Saga in video games. Nintendo issues a cease and desist to content creator Poke Princess, now known as Digital Princess, for the use of Poke and Pokemon imagery in her merchandise and stream. So you might be thinking, I see people in VR chat use copyright stuff all the time. This is where we're going to talk about personal use. Using avatars for personal use, that's fine. There's no issues with that. Something I've heard many times before is like, basically, if people couldn't use copyright avatars in VR chat, we wouldn't have any avatars in VR chat. But the important thing to remember is that if people or companies, they don't really care unless, you're making money or they think they can make money off of it. So for example, let's say if you were to meme around with your friends or in some public worlds as Thanos in VR chat, Marvel's not really going to do anything about it. But as soon as you start, let's say, becoming a VTuber known as Thanos using a Thanos avatar, then you're going to run into some issues. So then what about fair and commercial use? Fair use is kind of a minefield of information. I'm just going to leave some links in the video description down below if you want to know more about it. But in essence, it's best to check the terms of service for the avatar you're planning to use. And for example, the most common avatar base that you'll see is the TDA base, as you can see on the screen here. Just make sure that you check the usage rights for the model, avatars, bodies, or any of the props that you're using for your virtual streaming content. And even if you make changes, edits, retextures, recolors, what have you, it still leaves you open to DMCA/takedown/lawsuits. So here are some examples. Disney has historically in the past gone after anyone with the likeness of any of their characters, for example, Deadmau5 with his ears. Blizzard has more recently made all mainstream adult content based on their Overwatch characters. Well, those kind of just vanished because they wanted it to. So then what can you do? When you decide to use an avatar for YouTube or Twitch or anything like that, or if you know any content creators out there, make sure that they have the rights to their avatars. And just remember, just because you buy an avatar, like a TDA edit, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to use it commercially or for streaming or for things like YouTube. When you buy an avatar from a creator, make sure that you have the rights for it and they have the rights to sell it to you. And sometimes in storefronts like Booth, which is a great source to buy avatars, you can often find the terms of use in the avatar description page before buying. Hopefully, if you found this video helpful or insightful, and maybe you learned a little bit more about DMCA and avatar use, if you have any other questions about that, I do stream on Twitch, and if you want to pop in and have some questions or have a great conversation, you can check me out there. And also, you can check out some of my other videos that might pop up somewhere like here. Bye bye!